Well, good morning, y'all. This is Brett, Swafford Homestead. Nice, cool morning. Kind of weird. Like 59 this morning. It was 100. I think it peaked at 102 yesterday. Wild, wild weather changes. Other than rain, we don't get no rain. We about forgot what rain looks like around here. It has been dry for a couple months. But I wanted to point out a couple of vegetables it grows. It loves the heat. This is one of them. This wad of peas here, these are field peas. Or technically they're Red Ripper peas, which is in the field pea family. There's 15 plants, I think, in here in a single row down the middle. This is one plant I can tell you that loves the heat. They never wilt. You don't get yellow leaves. They actually look worse this morning in the cold weather than they do in the hot weather. They are thriving. This is the biggest pea patch I've ever had as far as planting just a few plants. They are loaded with peas. I mean, you can see them. You can see them good in the camera here. But it's hot enough. We don't get a color change, but you know the pea is ready. They look like these. They get, of course, they're all green. They get the shape of the peas in them. You can tell they're loaded with peas. Today they're green. 24 hours from now they'll be brown and dry. The heat just absolutely takes them out. The only chance you got in telling the difference is they get a white streak down the side, just a small amount of white. The pea shell itself don't turn all white, just on each side they'll be a little white. If it's white, I pick them, because if you don't, they're brown and dry in 12 hours. But you're talking about a plant that loves the heat, though. I'm getting enough peas off these 15 little plants. I probably need to tell the whole story, and I missed the most important part. I used to plant Red Ripper peas, and I quit 2 or 3 years ago because they are basically invasive. If you ever drop seeds on the ground, they're coming back. If you drop one of these pods, you're going to get Red Ripper peas next year. I had planted loofahs in a little swimming pool under a tree where I usually grow the loofahs. Kind of shades them from the extreme heat. I noticed a little plant popped up, and I recognized the leaves. I said, that's a pea plant. Why it's in this pool, I've never grown any kind of peas anywhere close to it. They've always been over in the far garden, or this far over is the corner of this garden. I say I missed one. That's what you get in 24 hours. It goes from green to that. That's as red as you're going to get. But anyway, notice that little pea plant growing. I let it grow. And it bloomed and it bloomed and it put on several pods of peas, even though it was living in a swimming pool under a tree. We use little kiddie pools sometimes for raised beds. I pulled them off and I kept the seeds. I wound up putting about 20 seeds in the ground here. I put down ground cover. You can see the ground cover here. Poked holes or cut gashes, and I dropped 2 or 3 seeds in each gash. I say gash, I made about a 6-8 inch cut. Opened it up, cut the dirt, put some fertilizer in it, buried the fertilizer, dropped some pea seeds, buried them. So it has very little fertilizer, just other than what I sprinkled in the holes. They love heat, and they are producing well. For 15 plants, I get my handful in the morning, my handful again in the evening. I see another one I missed. I need to start hunting with a camera. I find peas a lot better with a camera. It's already brown, so. This is probably the #1 thing I've seen that grows in the heat here in the South. They can grow them all the way down to the deep south. They will love it. When it gets 100 degrees out, the plants stand up, the leaves fold out. I mean, they just thrive. Second one, we won't talk about this potato experiment. Chickens are having a fit over there for some reason. Okra. Or as a man on Lazy Dog Farm says, okra. Another plant that loves the heat. I've made 2 or 3 videos about growing okra and about getting more production out of your okra and so on. We grow okra every year. It loves heat. It loves the sun. It'd rather be in the sun. But I was going to show you about the okra if I can get up here without stepping on something. That's the south end row where I started. It's the south end. It gets sun all day long. This is the north end of the row, and right now the trees are blocking the sun during the day. Now, apparently my chickens are trying to kill each other. Notice the height difference. The ones at the end are almost to the end, just twice as tall as the ones on this end. I'm still getting okra up here. You can see a pod right there. You can see them. But the further you go down, the taller it gets, the more okra you get, the better it gets. It loves heat. You won't see these wilt, you won't see these give at all, as long as they get just a little bit of water a day. Or a little bit of water when I water, about once or twice a week, because it's not raining. I've seen the okra wilt once or twice when it was really, really dry, and before I run the drip line system, which you can see laid on top of my potato project. Anyway, I do have a drip line on it. I can water it and keep it watered if I need to, which has really helped in the last few years because we have a drought every year starting about July, and you might get water by October. I thought I'd show these 2 different plants. You need something that grows in the heat. These 2 love it. They thrive and they produce really well in the heat. I've done picked the okra. Well, I picked the peas, but I missed a few. You always will. I can show you right there is, I picked the pod off this morning. There's 2 pods there growing. It's not hardly big enough. There's a bloom on the other side and a wad of blooms at the top. Little water, no fertilizer. They thrive. If you fertilize okra, you'll get a whole lot of plant and you'll get a lot less production. But thought I'd make a simple video. You can see my 2 favorite things that grows in the heat. We still got tomatoes, but tomatoes don't really like the heat. Like when it gets really, really hot and dry, they prefer a little cooler weather at night. Like now, I'm starting to get a tomato production again. Once they get used to the flip-flopping temperatures, because we're going back up, I think, to the 70s in a couple of days at night and around 100 during the day. Welcome to Tennessee is all I can say. If you don't like the weather, give it a day. Get a change. Y'all have a good day. God bless.